Here we are nearing the end of your first season. Totally new look. Laser Cats is very unique to anything you've done so far. And it was originally written as a sketch.
Ugh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was a sketch.
A bad sketch.
A badly written sketch.
So bad. I had forgotten how bad. And then for the listener, we were sent it this morning to reread.
Did you remember that we had done it, Andy?
I did not remember that.
I did not remember either.
I remembered you pitching it and then us being like, we should try and do it live. But I didn't remember we had actually written it and how fucking weird and bad it is.
It's terrible. And it's so short. At least we sort of knew it was bad because we clearly held back from writing 7 pages of it.
Do you want to really quickly explain, Akiva, what the premise of the live version of the sketch was?
I just want to say, first of all, there's 8 pages of it.
Is it 8 pages? It looked like it was like nothing. The premise of the live sketch version, it was written for the Natalie Portman show, apparently. And it was Andy and Natalie as a couple who have decided to start a business catching laser cats and repackaging them and selling them.
There's going to be 7 laser cats, and I am going to look at it with fresh eyes like I looked at this first one earlier today. I also am just going to be fully honest. I was not an instant convert to laser cats.
No, nor should you have been.
Wait. To double down on that. Were you ever, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, now we're getting down to it.
I gotta say, like, when people come to me and ask, not that they often do, I should stress.
Yeah.
But if people would ask, what's your favorite digital short? I think I'd get way down the list before we started bumping into laser cats. Now, there are moments in laser cats, I think, as it goes later, that I enjoy.
Right.
But this first one,
You hated.
there's like 2 or 3 things I really liked.
You know what I'll say? For a pre-tape, that's not bad.
That's not bad. Watching it again, it doesn't feel like the audience is fully on board. Would you say that's accurate?
That was just because it was our first year, and I think that they were just warming up to us. I think later on they would have been totally on board, yeah.
I think the lo-fi is a bit abrasive, and it's purposely so, but that can be a little hard to latch onto.
Yeah.
I will say it's one of my favorites for that reason. I like that it has a distinct contrast from the rest of the HD show, and that it's basically like knucklehead 12-year-olds running around 30 Rock being obnoxious and like driving a jazzy scooter souped up to look like a spaceship. It feels very inappropriate in good ways to me.
The key, obviously, framing device of it, that is one of the things that I do like a great deal, is it always begins with Bill and Andy trying to pitch this idea to Lorne. Do you guys remember whose idea it was to put that on it?
That was definitely not mine because that's a good idea.
No, it was Akiva's.
Okay.
I remember it vividly, and me and Yoram were like, no, but it's funny because it sucks.
Yes.
And Kiva's like, I remember the exact words, basically. You were like, Kiva's like, it's just stupid and silly, but you need the audience to understand that you know that it sucks and you're doing it on purpose. And so he pitched the Lorne stuff, and we were like, oh, yeah, that's smart. That was me doing Yoram. That's what he said.
Putting Lorne in a sketch can sometimes be a bit of a devil's bargain.
Please elaborate.
Because you can get a really good Lorne take, which this one is full of.
Yeah.
I think each one of Lorne's reads here is really good. You might need multiple takes to get it.
Depending on the day.
Depending on the day.
But I will say we put him in his comfort zone.
Yes.
Behind his desk.
Behind his desk, disliking our pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really have to act much. Draw from life experience.
You actually wrote a far more, straightforward Lorne than actually exists. Lorne would never say, well, it sounds bad.
True.
It was aggressive as opposed to passive aggressive. So it was like a real fictional multiverse Lorne that would tell you it sucked to your face.
Right.
I should say another thing. In general, I don't like it, but there are things I like.
Right. So you hate it.
The costumes are outstanding.
Okay, great.
And I really like Andy's helmet with the lightning bolts on it.
Classic.
Is really dumb.
I do remember that the first version, like this one, was shot by us, right? Keith, like we didn't have a camera person on this one.
I think we always shot them ourselves, didn't we?
All the first ones, right? Like at a certain point it switched over, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I think Laser Cats, we always just shot ourselves on little cameras.
But the other thing about Lasercats was that the crew was much, much smaller on this one. Because I remember like when we were doing like the fourth one, looking around and being like, why are there 30 people here for something that could be done with 2? Is it clear that we edited all of the digital shorts, though? Like, did people sort of understand that after the writing and shooting of these things, then Akiva and I and Andy would all just go and sit there forever? Is that something we need to take credit for?
That's why the effects are so good. Kevin pulled info on Sweeted Films. They are amateur recreations of famous films using limited resources and technology inspired by the 2008 comedy Be Kind, Rewind. Now, I just want to point out that Laser Cats is 2006.
We also didn't start sweeting them until, I mean, we were taking ideas from movies, obviously, but like in terms of like a sweeted film, we did those a little later, like when we were doing the James Cameron ones, right?
Yes, this does not have any iconic recreations.
Yeah, we weren't making Indiana Jones or something.
Then I had a real traumatic flashback because it cuts to you guys chowing down popcorn. Here's the thing. I stress ate popcorn for 12 and a half years. I would sit in Lauren's office in the worst mood and just idly eat handfuls and handfuls of delicious popcorn. And the amount I floss less post leaving that show is incredible. I think my gums used to bleed because I'm just flossing popcorn kernels out of them 24/7.
It truly was just us. There was not a single crew member with us. It was just us running around the halls.
Yeah, totally.
I guess that's my question. When this ends, do you think, oh, that was great, we should do one again?
That was not my thought.
No.
Okay.
But I did like how different it felt from anything else, not just like Jorm was saying at the top of this, how it felt different from what was on the show, but how different it felt from anything that had kind of ever been on the show. So I remember being okay with the fact that it played lukewarm at the audience because I thought, yeah, but we did something experimental.
And then do you hear good things over the course of the summer, say? Is Laser Cats something that I would imagine, especially from your friends in LA, that's kind of lined up with what they knew you for, sort of lo-fi, things like that? Was everybody, oh my God, that's so awesome that you did your thing on SNL?
There's a certain type of Comic-Con style person that really gets what we were going for, I think, and liked it. I don't know if they were our friends.
When it was over, did you get the sense that Bill thought, oh, this was so much fun, we should do more of these?
Yes.
I actually do.
Yeah.
This was Bill Zelly.
I mean, I think the playing with sort of action movie cinema tropes is right up Bill's alley.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were also all fans of, I may be wrong on this one, of when this came out, but Garth Marenghi's Dark Place was a big hit for all of us.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw that after we made this because people said, have you seen that?
Yes, I think that is right.
And then I was like, holy shit, I love this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes, a perfect show. Do you guys think that Lauren low-key loved being in this?
Oh man, I would never even.
I think by the end,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Lauren was very good in it.
Agree.
This one, he's very good. No notes. I like that through line of Lauren through the years being in sketches as Lauren.
Mhm.
And it makes me happy. And I think it makes him happy too. Especially as you guys became more popular, he probably was psyched to have been in on the ground floor. I don't think he would have wanted in the fourth season of The Lonely Island to like get word to you guys that he wanted to be in a short, like in a weird way. The fact that he said yes to Laser Cats in your first year, like paid off very kindly to him. And I think it's really fun for Lauren because he also gets to play a version of himself that is high status and eye-rolly. And those are moves he's very good at.
yeah, he's in his comfort zone and he comes off great.
I want to say a couple things about the show. These are the final days of Seth Meyers trying to grind it out on camera as a cast member. We're almost at the end of the season.
Oh, no.
I get to shake it off. I get to go through a very long, stressful summer where I'm wondering if I'm going to get the nod to replace Tina.
Oh, right.
Then I get to live a wonderful life of being a Weekend Update anchor.
Now, Tina at this point has announced she's leaving because 30 Rock is picked up and she's going to run that full time, right?
Yeah, we know there's going to be that whole process of figuring out who takes over. But I do have an update feature. I play a weatherman who will not admit global warming is a problem. I just think it's end of days. The reason I say it played hot, and not to keep hammering home what this year was like for me as a cast member, few things did.
It's so interesting, Seth. Like, I had no idea that is how you viewed it at the time. Like, as far as we were concerned, we were just like, Seth's older than us, so he's good. You know what I mean? Like, he knows how the show works. He gets stuff in. He gets laughs.
Yeah, we looked up to you so much. And
I didn't say that.
okay. Even like hearing you were upset that something got cut is surprising to me.
It was very much a me versus Tina, too, making the argument. And there was sort of an unwritten rule, which is don't fight for your piece. Totally unwritten. But between Dress and Air, Tina and I at this point, she's still head writer, I'm writing supervisor. And we both were very good at sticking to that rule. Neither of us were known for fighting for our pieces. And yet it was the last sketch of the night and we were both kind of putting our toe on the line. I think there was a little bit of dirty pool by both of us. I don't look back at that one fondly.
How would you do that with Lauren?
I think it would be some version of, I think that Tina would say, I just think for Lindsay, Anne Margaret's a great look. It's totally different than anything she's done in the show, which is totally true and fair, right? Her argument is better than mine. And I would say, I don't know, School Announcement has a lot of cast.
Right.
Played really well last time. And then Tina might say, yeah, is it that much different than last time? And then I'd go eat a bucket of popcorn. I never skipped goodnights.
I never skip goodnights.
But is that a rule? Like, is that an unwritten rule at SNL?
I think you could get away with it. Nobody would notice.
Yeah.
But I felt there was something so important and ritualistic about being there for goodnights. Even if I was in a terrible mood, I thought it was really special.
I agree, but I will say, I think I have memories. And again, this is not a sharp memory, but I feel like in the history of the show during our time there, people would be mad about whatever happened to their show that night and would skip goodnights like out of spite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, what you just described sounds like the worst humiliation possible, especially if you wrote it and were proud of it, and then you're sitting there in the costume.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would think that somebody must have skipped out.
I will say, in our era, Andy, I think most of the people would, when they hugged you during goodnights, laugh in a good way about the fact.
It like points you towards the camera and try and get you on camera in it.
And the other one that was cut on air, we've mentioned before, not this time. Old lobster claw and handlebar got the rollout.
I was gonna say, I bet it was lobster claw.
That one might pop up a lot coming up.
Yeah, this might be the long tail of lobster claw and handlebar.
God, in retrospect, you must have been so mad. And I was just sitting there looking up to you, just wide-eyed.
So, again, we keep saying him. Shoemaker was the one guy who knew how crazy I was going all the time. And then I think everybody else, I tried to present a pretty good face. I mean, I did still love working there, even when I was going crazy.
SNL is like that because I remember one time my first season, I had some weird interaction with Poehler. And like I said something as a joke. And then for the next like 3 hours spun out thinking I had offended her. I don't remember what it was. And then like found her later that afternoon and was like, hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I was just joking around. She was like, what?
You can be sloppy, you can be messy, you can take big swings and miss. And that thing when you eat shit at the table and you, in your head, everyone is behind their office doors saying, oh my God. But nobody has time to worry about you.
No, unless your sketch gets picked and theirs doesn't.
Right.
Then they're going to sit in their office with a little something to sip and talk about why yours is dog shit.
All right, so we got testicles with Tom Hanks, no less.
Remember when you asked us, were there some you wish hadn't aired?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Oh, interesting. So that's where you guys are at.
Oh, for sure. Still embarrassed.
Then peyote.
Right. The second one we ever shot aired finally. Here's a question that no one will care about or find interesting but us.
Perfect.
We would never really name them. They would come to us while editing and be like, what's this one called for the rundown?
Correct. There was no need to name it. It doesn't tell you when you're watching SNL live on NBC, there's no name that comes up for the thing. So it was only an internal document. And then the internet made it that all of a sudden you had to actually give things real names.
Right. We're just excusing ourselves a little. That's why it's called like Natalie Rap, Natalie's Rap, or Natalie Raps.
Natalie came in, was it on Monday? And was like, hey, let's do a song. And she wanted to do a rap song, as I recall. But we were like, I don't know if we can do that. You got to come kind of hard if you're going to do that. And then she started, as I recall, spitting some Lil' Kim.
In a way, I would argue you guys opened a Pandora's box.
Agreed.
Natalie's rap was fantastic, and we're going to talk about how great it was, but it sired a lot of children.
It did. A lot of celebs who didn't enjoy the works of Lil' Kim to the extent that Natalie did, who said, hey, look, Natalie's a dramatic actor or a non-rapper who's famous, who did a rap and everyone loved it. I'm going to do that now.
Mm-hmm.
And did.
But also, like, SNL is always a place, right, where you go into, like, show what else you can do as an actor and mess with your image, right, as a host.
Yes. And I should note, this is a success story. A lot of times actors come in and want to show the other thing they do. And it turns out the reason we haven't seen it yet is it's bad and no one likes it.
Yes. And that's, I think, why we were very nervous when she was like, I want to rap. And we were like, oh, God.
Yeah, we were massive fans of hers.
Yeah.
But yes, somebody coming and asking to rap, including ourselves, as we pointed out, is usually bad news.
Yeah.
Now, Andy, obviously you're a fan of Natalie. What happens when you hear the news that you're not going to be the star of this one? Natalie is going to take the rapping duties.
Well, I mean, it was something we all figured out together. It's not like I was waiting in a box to be told by the overlords what I would be performing that week. She came into our office and was like, hey, I like Lazy Sunday, I believe. And she's like, I love rap shit as well. And we were like, really? We think you're a great actor, but really? And then she just, like you said, she just started doing a Lil' Kim verse and was very good and very convincing.
And it was a very filthy, if you recall.
Yeah.
It was a foul verse. Yeah.
And we all just started dying laughing and being like, oh, yeah, that will really work. No one is going to see this coming. And we just immediately started writing it.
I should note that what's built into the Natalie rap is that moment because it starts with Chris Parnell interviewing her.
That's classic Akiva table setting. Akiva's great at, you tell him like, this is what I want to happen. And then he goes, well, no one will understand what that means. There's no context. And then we go, okay, well, how do we do context then? And he goes, I don't know, like the bad idea would be blah, 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 blah. And we go, all right, cool, let's do that.
Now, this song, I thought I had a real familiarity for it. Oh, I should also know, I'm in it, you guys.
Yeah.
Is this our first?
Yeah, it is.
She slaps you, right?
She slaps me.
Hard.
I say, damn, Natalie, you a crazy chick. Now,
Yeah.
this was very exciting. I got to sing a line. I got to put on headphones like I'm wearing now and sing a rap line. Very excited for me. Well, I, by the way, tried to convince Lauren to call this Seth rap. But I went back. I thought I had a real familiarity with this song. I remembered a lot of things. I definitely forgot exactly how filthy it is.
Yeah.
It is mind-bogglingly, graphically filthy.
Had to be.
Had to be.
That was the whole joke. That was the whole angle. I will say this. I remember this one as a particularly hot sesh for Keeve that they were just pouring out of him.
Is that right? I don't remember that.
Yeah. And then we all kind of fine-tuned together.
Keith, you're also the filthiest part of I'm on a boat, too.
I use a lot of bad words, but I'm a pretty clean guy in general.
You saw the joke very clearly. That's all I'll say. Like you wrote a lot of the lines that ended up in it. And me and Yorm contributed, as always. But I remember like the way that certain days, certain ones of us were just more in the zone when we started writing, you know?
This is, again, the current system that will remain in place forever now is no one sees these digital shorts until dress.
Right.
What was the censor's reaction when they first laid eyes on this?
Oh, that's a great question.
I don't remember, but I do remember that's why we added the red bar over her mouth.
Yeah.
It was definitely like beeping's not enough. We also don't want to see her mouth the bad words.
And there's a great amount of graphical elements because of that.
Yeah.
She's constantly getting giant black bars over her mouth. And I will say it works really well.
Yeah, it's like a censor thing.
Yeah, we would realize often with our censored versions of songs that actually beeps were sometimes the best because they are the most jarringly implying real horrible cursing.
So now, I also think when you go back and watch it, the audience, it takes them a minute to figure out what's going on here, right?
And then they love it.
They definitely love it.
It definitely jumps right in.
But then the second verse, which is, again, we go back to Parnell talking to her, is, do you have a message for the kids? Again, listeners, a lot of this is me going to be patting these guys on the back. But this to me is a classic case of them knowing exactly how to heighten into the second verse.
We did note in the rundown it played second to last. So it was 12:55 probably when it aired.
Steps were taken.
Yeah. Oh, it was right before the second song. So it was probably 12:45.
Now, I feel like all the kids looking up to me can suck my dick and the Harvard verse are Keeve.
Mm-hmm.
The Harvard verse is definitely.
And now another wonderful thing happens at this point in the song. And I feel like this is your 13th show. So I'm getting to know you gentlemen now. It's March. Met you in September on the show. It's late in the song. Andy shows up.
Oh, dear.
Dressed like a Viking.
Yeah.
Total nonsense. I was talking to our good friend who's going to keep getting name dropped in this podcast, Mike Shoemaker, who said he saw that and was in love. He thought the fact that you wore a Viking costume late in the song for no reason was what endeared him to you. Whereas I remember when I saw it, my first reaction was, a fucking Viking.
I gotta say, I'm with you, Seth. Like, I'm still sort of embarrassed about that choice.
But I'm never going to run from the fact that I was wrong a lot about your early work. And this is one. I will say, Yorm, I've made peace with the Viking, but how does it happen?
I feel like the Viking was, the thought process was something to the effect of like, well, it's got to be totally different than Lazy Sunday. Like, honestly, it might be that stupid, you know? And maybe also because I was singing and I knew I wasn't a good singer, that it was like a character.
I think it was that. I think you were nervous about singing in the beginning.
Be like, but if it's this weird Viking guy, then
Yeah,
we're
it's
just
not
like,
you
well,
then.
shit, who knows what his deal
Yeah,
is?
it's that it wasn't you. It was to protect it a little. Also, the first verse we wrote was just all about Odin.
Oh, yeah.
Did you really?
No, there was nothing about Odin.
No.
That would have made it make sort of sense.
I love that you're like, no, that would have been stupid. What are you talking about? He dressed like a Viking.
No. I think it was, we wanted it to be a character and I thought that would be a fun look, basically.
But then this is the most Andy line. I don't know if Andy wrote it, but it's the most Andy line of, as for the drug use, well, I can vouch for that. Like, I can vouch for that appearing this late in a song that is the filthiest line after the filthiest line after the filthiest line. And then there's just this anodyne nonsense.
I'll say this. That easily could have been any of the three of us in my mind. That is just a Lonely Island type joke.
Yes.
Can we give a shout out to my brother for making the beat for Natalie's rap, right? Didn't my brother make the beat for that?
Yeah. Asa Taccone
Yeah, Asa Taccone.
of Electric Guest. That was one of his beats.
I love that beat.
It's tight.
I just remember when this came out that now we knew YouTube existed. Lazy Sunday had been on there and taken off. And this was the second big thing that had some traction that came out. And we immediately went to YouTube to see if somebody had put it there. It was still well before NBC would put something there or that even we would think about it. So sure enough, some random person had put it up. And I remember it had like 500,000 views by Monday, which by that point was an insane amount to get in one day. And then NBC took it down right away and just buried it deep.
We were upset at the time that we were being asked to make things that were viral and then quarantine them.
They weren't even quarantining yet because NBC.com still didn't have video and Hulu didn't even exist.
Yeah, you're right. They just took them down
I guess they were quarantining it to NBC reruns.
for future Hulu use.
Yes, that was the discussion of like, we are beholden to the people who have paid for the syndication rights.
Right. It was like in breach of like deals with the affiliates and stuff.
Syndication deal.
How quickly was Hulu in the works for them? I mean, it must have been immediately, like as soon as YouTube was happening, they were like, how can we do our own version of this?
I think it was more just NBC.com, but it was still years before that came in.
There was a long time where they were telling us, oh yeah, and promote NBC.com.
Right.
And we'd be like, great. And we went to NBC.com to try and watch the videos and they just wouldn't load. This was our first really successful one after Lazy Sunday, right? That's how I remember it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how I remember it too.
And I remember feeling huge relief that it went over so big because there was the Lazy Sunday expectation on them a little now. And we were like, shit, we did another song and people really liked it again. That was cool.
You don't want to be a one-hit wonder.
I don't know if anybody ever topped her, though, in terms of like a digital short having a celebrity to come in and be the star of it.
And then Natalie was super happy with the way it went.
Mhm.
You guys, can I tease our next digital short before we go?
I don't know why you have to pick on it.
I like that.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, sir.
It's back to back for Myers. Doppelganger's up.
Oh,
Hey!
shit! Doppelgangers!
Yeah, to the well.
I mean, I'm in back to back digital shorts. I will tell you that after Doppelganger, my assumption is I'm gonna be in most of them. Without having rewatched it, I'm gonna say Doppelganger holds up pretty good.
I would guess as
Yeah.
much.
This is the last two of the year, right?
Yeah, season 1.
We are going to talk about two different digital shorts that I am guessing, even if you're a hardcore Lonely Island fan, you have not heard anyone talk about these since they aired.
Correct. They are in competition for the bottom.
They are in competition for the bottom, and one of them has a real A-lister involved.
Yeah.
So I want to start with that element of, first of all, we're rolling into the end of your first season on the show. I do still think one of the things that's happening, not just for you guys, but the show in general, is there's an excitement building. And one of the things that's really exciting is we have a series of really big time hosts to close out the year. And one of those hosts is Tom Hanks. Now, I had at this point not worked with Tom Hanks. This is the first time he'd been on the show since I had been on board. You guys had obviously not worked with Tom Hanks. And yet, not only do you know this guy from all his movies, both serious and funny, you know him to be kind of an all-time SNL host.
Def.
Yes.
So you feel like when Hanks is there, the digital shorts are in ascendancy. I do remember he showed up down
Yeah.
to do a digital short.
Yes. Bless his heart.
He had kids who were at the age where they were hip to it.
Is it fair to say that we let down all our heroes on the show?
As you built this up, Seth, my stomach was just dropping out for every part of this of just like, what a disappointment we made.
Well, because we've covered Steve Martin
Yep, that's right. We let down Steve Martin.
and now we're here. And I remember, another one of the best SNL hosts of all time is Alec Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
And this is pre-Trump. So it was still surprising even to have him on the show. And it was like, oh my God, we're here for an Alec Baldwin episode. And we didn't even get anything on the air in my recollection.
You mean more rare, not surprising.
Yes.
For us, it was more like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yes. And I just mean nowadays it wouldn't be so surprising because he became a regular.
Agreed.
I think no matter how long you're at SNL, there are the two kinds of hosts you're excited for. There's the one who you're there for their first SNL, and then it's a little bit weightier when you're there for their 7th, 8th, 9th. They know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things, it's such a sugar high to host SNL.
It's true.
That sometimes, in a wonderful way, a host will have a dud episode, but they'll still be super psyched at the party because they don't know. And it's not their fault. They put their heart into it. It's very
Yes.
rarely the host blew it.
Yeah, we get it. We fucked
Yeah.
up. you want to say the title of the short just to like really put a nail in the coffin?
Well, I like the fact that everybody's listening. The massive fans of this podcast by episode 9 are like, wait, what is it? How come I can't remember
Well, they saw the title, but they have no clue what it is.
the hit digital short Sexy Song?
Right.
Oh, that's better.
We were smart enough not to name it its title.
That's smart.
On YouTube, it's called My Testicles.
Yeah.
My testicles.
I thought it was going to be Please Don't Cut My Testicles.
Please don't cut my testicles.
Yeah,
Did you guys watch it before we just started?
I did.
I did watch it.
I watched it recently independently of this podcast.
What?
I don't know why.
My memory, though, is so embarrassed that when I just watched it, if I could just jump to my experience,
Sure.
it got lots of laughs, and I felt immense relief watching for most.
It played fine.
It played fine. That's what I mean. It played better than some things, better than the one we're going to talk about next. I just hate the main joke so much. It had tainted the whole thing. There's lots of little color in there
Agreed.
of making
Yeah.
fun of like Euro, English as a second language, Swedish, Danish, where they make songs to cross over to the American market and they're saying kind of odd things.
I would also argue that the bookends are delightful.
Yes.
With Forte Keenan and Parnell
That's true.
look great.
Yes, I was so grateful at the end when he said he didn't like it. I was right there with him.
At least we shit on it. Yes.
We knew it wasn't good. And that's a classic SNL move, is bailing yourself out when you know your thing's not actually good enough by calling it out before anyone else can.
It's more that it's Tom Hanks, though. Like just watching him have to do it is such a drag.
Much like Steve Martin in Surf Meeting.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks, 110%.
Yep.
Again, when you watch a host, especially one of great talents, not take their foot off the talent gas
Mhm.
while they're speeding through a piece of turd.
If we hadn't already done the one with Natalie, I would have said shame on him. You know what I mean? Like we had only to that point before the Natalie one only proven that we could make it work with us specifically doing it.
Yeah.
But then she came in and wanted to do a song and it ended up working really well. So then it's like, he's not wrong to be like, well, shit, do that for me. And us being like, oh my God, Tom Hanks is in our office.
Well, to be fair, it is also a direct parody, though, of a real song that we heard and were mimicking that no one knows.
I can't even remember.
Isn't it the What Is It Right Said Fred song, though?
No. It's a song. It's like is it Israeli?
I think
Song?
that's right. Yeah. But what was it called? I do remember it existing.
That our buddy sent to us. It has a similar cadence.
I feel like there's that drum moment in this song, like, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, which almost sounded exactly like
Yes.
Right said Fred.
I'm Too Sexy. Yeah.
That's true.
And they're dressed like Right Said Fred, too. Like, we're taking, obviously, from all sorts of Euro pop stuff.
Of course.
So I want to ask a question. I feel like sometimes I'm looking at the script and it wasn't the script because it starts with New York City, 1991. Was it always going to have that framing device? Did you know that that was important?
I think so.
Okay.
Right at that moment when it transitions into the video and those drums that you were just singing, Seth, come in and you see it's on this infinite white cyc and everyone's in leather and Polar's there and Maya's there and it's got a vibe and you realize, oh my God, it's Tom Hanks in there. Expectations just go through the roof. Even I found myself in this rewatch like, okay, whoa, we're
Yes.
like, I'm in the presence of greatness. I might be witnessing a classic unfolding.
Yes. And I think that helps you because the audience feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it's very fun to watch you and Hanks share the screen, Andy. Akiva, I think the audience was just like you. They're like, we're watching a classic. The song is so short, they don't have time to realize they're not.
Okay, well, that's good. That's the first compliment you've given.
The one thing I'll say outside of the bookends that I really liked is that we get out so fast. I was so relieved when it ended, where I was like, oh, well, at least it's just that. Like it just signals to everyone we knew we weren't sitting on something that we thought was great.
It's weirdly 2 verses, and I was very surprised it was over. But then I thought, knowing you guys like I know you, I knew that that was not an act of laziness. That was an act of shame.
Hatred. Yeah, hatred and shame.
You know what else? Other little things. Let's talk about little things we like.
Okay, great.
I liked how I pronounced often.
Yeah. I also appreciated that we didn't care that there were cars and people in the background that showed it was clearly now. We could have just turned the camera towards a wall and it could have been 1991, but we didn't. I actually do non-sarcastically like that because it lets you know that we're just having fun and went out with some costumes.
The stakes were decidedly not high.
Right. We may have looked at each other and been like, yeah, it's fine.
So the shortness of the song, does that mean that you guys knew there were fundamental problems in the writing of it? When do you know we got to get in and out of this because it's not sustainable?
I think in the writing phase.
Gotcha.
We always are cutting things short. We've talked about it before. That's like kind of a staple of our things is trying to cut things as short as they can be.
Yeah, and the dumber the joke, the faster you tell it. I think.
Yeah.
Just in general.
This probably doesn't crack Hanks's top 7. And he's had some real barn burners, and we did not, in general, come through for him. We just didn't have it this week. Yorm, do you remember Tennis Partners that you wrote with Forte?
I watched it again because I thought I was going to be asked this question, and barely, but I think it was one of those very late night Forte writing sessions where you're like, he's doing the circling a paragraph over and over again, one of those. There is something interesting about a Forte sketch, and this happened a couple times when writing with him, where when you would go to a rewrite with a normal sketch, you could be there for a while because anyone can pitch on it. And oftentimes, if you went in with a Forte sketch, people would kind of look around and be like, huh? And there would not be much of a punch up because the logic was so Forte. It was very difficult to find your way in.
So rewrite tables on Thursday, and I greatly enjoyed my Thursdays. And as head writer, I would sit at the head of the table, and you'd have about 7 other writers at the table. And then Forte would come in for, say, 45 minutes to an hour, and you'd pitch jokes on it. And the nice thing with Forte was knowing that exactly what you just said, Yorm. So you'd only maybe give it 10 minutes. You'd pitch a few things. He would sort of dutifully write them down. You would know that they would go right in the garbage, and that was fine with everybody.
Immediately in the garbage. He would nod like very appreciatively, though. He was always kind about it.
Yeah, of course. And whoever was on Forte's piece had hours and hours to go. It wasn't like he was done working on it.
Yeah.
There was no value to him in the sort of collective writing process. All right, now we move on. This is very exciting. It was for me a really cool week to get to work with Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
All right.
who-
Yes, that was awesome.
She was very funny talking about the things she was embarrassed about when she was there. Like, she came from a very theater background, and there was sort of half theater. If you remember, she was there at a crazy time when you also had the Billy Crystals of the world. She was the best.
She really was.
And it was a great episode. Despite the fact that, again, it wasn't that memorable a digital short.
No, well, we've already covered this short a little bit
Yeah.
because it was the one we did after Lazy Sunday.
We didn't shoot one that week.
Yeah, so there's no... Julia's not in it, and it is peyote, which is sort of the follow-up to lettuce that wisely didn't air as the follow-up to lettuce. So even though it does not make an impact here, the positive impact was the instinct not to make it the second digital short,
Mm-hmm.
because now we put some air between it. Now it sort of feels like a 10-to-1er, even though it's not.
No, it did.
Oh, you're right. It is a 10-to-1er,
It was the final sketch of the night.
which is a perfect place to put it. And so it does not have the burden of being an early digital short. And for those who enjoy the journey of digital shorts, peyote is good time.
Yeah.
So peyote comes from Sandberg. Do you guys sit down and say, is there another move in lettuce to do a second lettucey sketch?
I feel like it was also Forte's idea, wasn't it?
Yes. Lettuce had worked out and we went back to Forte, let's do it again. What else you got, buddy? It's a simple premise done well, but amounts to very little.
Low-cal.
Very
Low
low
cal.
cal. Perfect for the very end of the thing when most people are asleep.
Yeah. How long does it? It's like a minute 10 or something, right?
I'm going to guess that's true.
Honestly, that's probably the main reason why it aired last, because it wasn't helping change a set.
I think one of the nice things about the success of the digital shorts is, again, I'm extrapolating out based on nothing, why a lot of people got behind them, is you guys were never eating up a huge chunk of the show. If somebody's writing a recurring piece that's 7 minutes every other week, that's really taking away time from other people. But you guys were capped out at 2:20. Sometimes you'd come in at 1:15. Nobody could be upset.
Also, it never took away from anyone's live piece because there always had to be a pre-tape piece in the spot we were in.
Yeah.
50 seconds. Jeff just went and looked. 50 seconds.
Yeah, that's that
What
shit.
was the number that we had to hit, though, to be able to change a set? It was 145 or
Is it
150?
135 or 150?
I thought it was 150. So if you made it something underneath that, Lauren would kind of thanks a lot. Really doesn't help me.
Yeah. He was like, it really helps me if you can make it 150 or longer.
Okay, so I wrote a sketch called MySpace, and it was Andy. Do you remember that you were the professor or the teacher in this sketch?
No.
Okay. You were teaching everybody how you could set up a MySpace, and it's in Julia, and then the rest of us are clearly pedophiles. Here's my favorite memory of it. In Dress, do you remember who was in it that asked to get taken out of it?
No.
Somebody was in it playing a pedophile, got a giant laugh, and then between Dress and Air thought better of it. And that was musical guest Paul Simon.
This was one of the first ones where I got asked to direct something for the show that wasn't one of our sketches because I did some
Right.
parts of the monologue I didn't write that was going out in the streets with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And I remember having a great time and feeling kind of proud that I had contributed to the adult part of the show rather than just our little kid corner.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about 2 digital shorts today. And we're also going to talk about what now, when you look back on it, is just a very fallow period to start this season. that culminates in the Christmas show, which is next week's episode. And again, I do think you want to listen to this one to really enjoy the comeback story of next one.
Yeah. Suspense.
You're going to finish the first half of your second season with Dick in a Box, which is the game changer. It's the third runaway hit, right?
Yep.
Lazy Sunday, Natalie Rap, Dick in a Box.
Yeah.
Your words.
My words.
But certainly the third one that we were like, whoa, that worked.
But here's the thing. I read this really great Mike Nichols autobiography by this great writer named Mark Harris. And I would have told you Mike Nichols only had hits his whole career. And yet you read the book and it's just highs and lows. And looking back at the first half of the season for you guys is a real reminder, because my memory was, oh yeah, once they started making digital shorts, they were all hits. Not the case.
Not the case. Nor was it ever.
Right.
Nor was it ever.
Yeah, that's the nature of SNL.
That is the nature of SNL.
And life.
Yeah. History forgets the duds and remembers the good ones. And that's nice.
I'm messing it up. There's some version of a Jack Lemmon quote where he says, look, people are going to remember you for your best work. Don't beat yourself up for the duds, because excellence is what we remember.
Maybe I'm the only person on this podcast. I fucking love Harpoon Man.
Oh,
Maybe I love the failures. It's possible.
Did you rewatch it before this?
Yes, I did.
I just rewatched it as well. And it was better than I remembered in some ways. And then there were some ways that were dated
Yeah, there's some cringy moments for sure.
to the moments where I was like, ooh, I wish I could erase that.
Yeah.
Yes, you wouldn't do that now. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And when people rewatch it based on my comment, some people will dislike me as a person because I said that I liked it.
That's not the parts you like.
Yeah, it's not the parts I like. But I have a real fondness for this particular short, personally.
do you guys remember the impetus for the idea, Harpoon Man? Is there any memory of how this got off the ground?
Gosh.
I really don't.
Can I also say, Andy, I'm a giant fan of you as a singer.
It's
This
terrible.
isn't your wheelhouse.
Honestly, like, I was cringing the whole time watching it.
It's maybe your bottom three vocal performance.
I mean, I struggle to think of a worse one. Maybe Daiquiri Girl, but that was on purpose, you know?
Yeah. This is noble that you're admitting that this was an effort was being made to sound cool and Barry Whitish.
I mean, this was so early on. Like, we had never even attempted this type of song before. So this was like a classic SNL thing where you're like, what if we do it like in the style of one of those?
Yeah.
And just sort of winged it and did it really fast and throw away, and it sounds bad.
Wait, Keeve, will you describe what Harpoon Man is for our audience real quick?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a Shaft style 70s blaxploitation song.
There's a directing complaint I have about it, which is there's lots of close-ups of the whale's mouth in the booth, but you can see part of the whale costume in the close-ups.
See, but I didn't notice because I forgot it was coming. So I would say we get away with it.
Yeah, I think you only notice it if you remember the whales coming.
Got it.
I think it's forgivable for the first viewing. I don't think any viewers were tipped off.
Why wouldn't we have just made some black bars on the side, though, as a style choice, just to make the frame smaller?
Or just made the shot more straight on instead of from the side.
I don't think you would have liked that either.
Andy's trying to deflect away from his singing with these soft directing notes.
I couldn't be more on the record as saying I suck in it and it's not my fave.
I enjoy how much you're owning this one. I think that it suffers as well from, it has a similarity to young Chuck Norris.
Mhm.
It's a lot of the same locations.
Yeah.
The Rock in Central Park. It's outside 30 Rock. I think we've seen the wall of 30 Rock now in maybe 5 or 6 shorts.
Yes.
And you guys do start going farther afield the more budget and thrust gets behind the digital shorts.
Yeah, I was going to say part of it is what we were limited to. I mean, we were not like cut loose the way they are now with like, here's tons of money to go shoot this epic thing. It was like,
Right.
Go make something and we'll maybe air it while we change sets.
And at the time, it didn't bum me out, but knowing where digital shorts go, watching these old lo-fi ones, you're kind of waiting for,
Yeah, but the lo-fi was part of the charm.
of course.
Because the show is so slick that then when you get something where you can tell we just ran out with the camera, that was, I think, part of what made them special for a while.
There's quite a few things that we would have not done if this had been made now. Well, probably not made it at all.
Listen, we're so tired from Hot Rod still.
Yeah.
I know, I'm wondering, because we are still in the Hot Rod hangover, and you are still actively working on Hot Rod as well.
We are editing it, and we're even editing it on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then every time we're pulled away from it to go back to the show to make something, there is a part of us where our brains are just 100% on, we shot a movie and we need to get it edited.
Yes.
And now we're here and we're having to shift gears.
In any given season, no matter the cast and writers and everything, there's shows where it all comes together and shows where you're like, woof. Like if you could lose a couple every season.
Well, when you guys say though that like if you see a good episode of SNL, like maybe even a great episode, that it's still like I don't know what percentage you guys would put it at, but I would still put it at like 40% great. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great episode. It's hard to make live TV when there's somebody in the booth saying camera one, camera two, and everything is timing in comedy. It's hard to get that right. And I just feel like a great episode of SNL is still going to have maybe 50% like,
I mean, obviously everyone has a different opinion, but there are certain ones, like I would argue, the Justin one we're going to talk about on the next episode, where when you look at the rundown, you're like, all this killed. Or like Melissa McCarthy had a few like that, where you're just like, oh my God, every sketch destroyed.
I should say when Maya comes back to host, I don't know if you guys are still there. That was a monster, top to bottom. So there are a few.
But it definitely happens, Yorm, is all I'm saying.
I guess I don't mean that though. I mean, for your actual comedy taste, like what percentage of a show has to be good to like have you, because like, I don't mean the audience like loving everything. I mean like you being like, fuck, that was fire.
I think if it's over like 60 or 70%, that's considered like a smash.
Well, that's quite good. To me, if it was like at 50, that I was like, fuck, that was really funny. I thought that was like hilarious. Because there's always like sketches that I'm like, oh yeah, that's not for me, but it was quite good.
The truth is, if you watch any episode of SNL and there's one sketch you're really excited about, it's a huge deal.
100%.
I remember one season near the end of the year at the Thursday rewrite table, I read through every episode and had the writers say whether it was a win, loss, or tie.
That's a good way to do it.
And it was pretty much even numbers. And I think it was a good season.
Yeah.
But it was sort of like 7, 7, and 7, or 7, 6, and 7. And sometimes it's a loss because you are bummed that you as a writing staff and cast couldn't rise to the level of the host.
Right.
You know, so you grade on a curve. When you had a really good host and it felt like a fine show, you sort of take the L.
To your point, Andy, though, like when we first got to the show, I remember this distinctly because me and Keeve, how old were we when we watched that Kelsey Grammer episode, Keeve? We watched an episode of the show when we were children. The sketch is that Kelsey Grammer is a film noir detective and his voiceover just somehow keeps going back to that he wants to go to this all-night suit and burrito shop, that he's obsessed with burritos. And we thought it was so fucking funny.
I think it's a McKay one. So I think we were probably teenagers.
I remember watching it over, like we had recorded it or like, I don't know, like just stuck in my head. I was like, this is the best funny. And this murdered. Like it was so fucking funny. And then when you get to the show, when we first got to the show, there's an SNL post server, which we didn't know existed. And you can watch dress and air for every episode of the show starting in like 1970, like 2 years after the show started. And we rewatched that particular episode. And I don't remember anything else from that particular episode of the show, but I was like, this murdered. And it was the funniest thing ever. And I still thought it was fucking hilarious. But when we rewatched it, we were like, oh, this didn't do very well. Like it's your personal take on the show. Like if you find a sketch that like speaks to you, it was completely worth watching that particular episode. Everyone has those particular sketches that like meant the world to them.
And yet no one, and we've done some straw polling, no one feels that way about Harpoon Man.
That's right.
There was no age in which Harpoon Man hit the sweet spot.
But Seth, you've pinpointed it though when you said it's because we feel like we let down a good host. Like John C. Reilly is so funny. That's why it really hurts, because we made a mediocre thing and he was game and he's funny and he deserved better. And that's one of the reasons we're beating ourselves up about it.
Yeah.
Seth, were you there? It was a year or two before we got there when David Alan Grier hosted.
No, missed it.
I remember that episode as being one where I was like, fuck, that killed.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can think of 2 sketches that were so funny. The like death row bloopers and all the commercials, like Maya Angelou for Fruit Loops and all that shit.
My biggest pet peeve of how sketches ended during my era of SNL happens. Do you guys know what my biggest pet peeve is?
Freeze frame.
Freeze frame. I had a second pet peeve that I'm pretty sure Yorma did 3 times.
No!
In the course of 5 weeks.
Why would I?
Which is sketches ended with somebody falling out a window. I remember earnestly saying to the writing staff, I was just a scold, just like a scold, being like, guys, we gotta stop ending sketches with freeze frames and jams. Ludacris is up next, and no digi, but a genuinely great Andy sketch. Blizzard Man. Blizzard Man, one of my all-time favorites.
The first Blizzy.
The first Blizzy played great.
I remember being like, holy shit, that felt like a new thing where we actually wrote a character sketch live and it went and worked.
It was very well written because it was self-contained. The moments where you got to be funny, camera was just on you, getting to be funny.
We wrote something together. I'm looking at that rundown.
What's that?
It was one of the very few times I pitched something at the table.
Wait, how many shows did we just go through?
Here's what's happened. John C. Reilly, Harpoon Man. Hugh Laurie was Let's Get Spotted cut. Alec Baldwin was nothing. Ludacris, also nothing, but we got a Blizzard Man. So you guys earned your money. Don't get me wrong. What did we write together, bud?
So it ended up airing first sketch after the monologue. And I remember being kind of proud because it was like I had thought of an idea that just seemed like an SNL idea.
You must have been proud, Keeve. Up top of the show. That was a hard feat.
Well, it's a shot from Myers.
Yeah.
Myers
that's
has
true.
a second credit on there.
Yeah, you got to Trojan horse it with Myers.
Exactly.
I got Trojan horse it. So there is a digital short in Matthew Fox, which does not air. It gets cut. Then it airs in the next episode, which is Annette Bening, which is strange. I guess it's happened to you guys a couple times because now there was the Scarlett Johansson was in a digital short the week after she had hosted.
The Tangent.
And this happens again. This is a very Fred-driven digital short.
It says it was written by Lutz, but I have no memory.
But it seems like a Fred bit.
This is one that would not qualify for our rule that comes up later, which our rule was it had to have two of us involved to get the SNL digital short logo. Later on, because that came to represent a Lonely Island short.
Top quality,
Yes.
like Harpoon Man.
And that it was ours. This I did direct and edit as an assignment, but it's not ours really. And Andy is in it, but only peripherally.
I don't remember shooting it.
Thank you for clarifying, Keeve. This would not qualify as a digital short by today's rules.
But it is one. It's got the logo.
And I don't even think I helped you edit on this at all.
I don't know though, because after you guys left, like the last 2 seasons where you guys both had left and would come back periodically, we definitely put it on ones that I did without you guys.
Right. So we broke the rules. And there's more coming that break the rule
Yeah.
too. But at some point we kind of had that rule.
I'm going to jump in and say, as long as it was an Andy idea, it should be a digital short.
And especially later, because that
Yeah.
came to be.
The other thing is all three of you were at the show at this point. So if only one of you worked on it, it's a little different.
Sure. But it's the same as Cubicle Fight.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's the same as Cuba. So really the takeaway here is you guys aren't really doing a lot of digital shorts this year until next week with our friend JT.
Correct. And it was still hot rod stuff. We were like, oh, that was funny at the table. Let's just do that as the short because they want a short.
So that, I guess, brings us to the fact that we are now going to, and we'll obviously discuss it next week. I will say, for whatever reason, I still remember being bullish about digital shorts because I'll save it for next week. I remember a conversation I had with Lauren about how you guys were trying to write a Christmas digital short for Justin Timberlake. So I feel like internally at the show, people still thought they were a big thing that was on the upswing. But it is weird to go back and look at the first half of your second season and realize that it was pretty dry land.
Yeah, I'll say this. Knowing us, I'm guessing we were being very vocal about how hard it was to do them and also edit the movie.
No, what? We were complaining?
Just know that there's some real crow eating a coming for me because my conversation with Lauren might have been pointing a lot of this out.
I will say, though, that we did have the advantage, like looking back at some of these and the sort of podunk quality of the filming, literally the quality of what we were making, I do think had the advantage of seeming very different from the rest of the show. So I do think that people were excited to see something new, and it also had that slight advantage of like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What is this janky non-HD shit?
Yeah, as you guys discussed at length earlier, the show is very uneven. So even these ones, I think, that are kind of fine, they're not like embarrassing. They're just weird to talk about 10 years later as if they're something to talk about because they're mediocre. But so much of the show always has to be mediocre. It's not like people were noticing they're bad because the show is bad.
And the speed of which we're telling jokes is faster than a normal sketch. So I think that that also helped too. Like we're banging through shit. Even if it was stupid, it was like, at least it's fast.
Did you know after the first Laser Cats that you were going to do another Laser Cats? Were you guys hearing a lot of good things about the first
No.
Laser Cats?
I don't think
No,
so.
okay.
Yeah.
No.
I think we just wanted to. It was like one of the only things we'd done. We were like, making another one didn't sound gross as an endeavor because it was so low stakes.
Well, I think because the comedy comes from the fact that nobody would want you to do a second one.
That's our comedy to present it to you. That's why I liked it. It was knowing that you were
I
good.
think you've nailed it, Seth.
But that is also the internal logic of it is that as well, because you are pitching it to Lorne.
Yeah.
And he's super bummed out.
Yeah. I do think the idea that no one wants it does make it funnier to us, definitely.
And now eventually, of course, we are going to reach a place, not yet, but maybe after this one, there is going to be the recognition moment for Laser Cats. That moment has yet to come.
Yes, correct.
There's a little bit at the top of this one.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
A tiny
You
bit.
know what? You're right, Keith. I take it back. There was more than I thought there would be.
But I also think it's because we did a good job of restating the premise and educating the audience that there had been a first one because we assumed they didn't know that.
Yeah, it is a very nice education.
It's a serialized narrative. It demands more episodes.
Lauren was good in Laser Cats. He really sold it. It almost seemed like he actually hated us.
Almost.
Hey, Keith, give us a little, use the words you would use to direct Lorne right now.
I mean, he would always understand it perfectly.
Yeah.
And every time we'd write him into something, we'd be very apologetic, but then he'd always be very game to do it. Maybe surprising me that he's always a little more so like willing to be on camera than I anticipate. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
In truth, he would just do a good job and know his role.
I think that is one of real credit to Lauren, which is even the audience thinks he didn't want to be in it.
Right.
And yet I do think he likes to be in it. But that is that really good performer thing, which is he never looks needy.
Yes. And he doesn't want us to think it either because he's, you know, too cool for it. But then he always is like, yeah, where do you want me?
But it's also easy to not seem needy when you don't need to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's part of why it's fun for him also, is because he knows he doesn't need to. It's just, is he in the mood or not?
Yeah.
If I had a critique of Laser Cats 2, the outro bookend with Lauren is pretty soft
Yeah.
Yeah.
and slow.
It feels pretty familiar to the first one.
Yeah, it's kind of junky.
Also, after seeing, now that we've seen 7 of these, it feels very obvious.
Yeah.
But even then, it doesn't get a huge laugh.
It peters out. And it peters out in a way where I remember watching and being like, well, they're certainly not going to do a third.